How's it going, fam? It's Erica with Not Your Average EDC, and today we are doing the week 1 update of the Reeve knives that we are testing, and I have something really exciting that came in for the channel that I have in front of me here, and I would like to show that to you guys. I definitely have a dog hair on my face. Let's go over this real quick. This is very exciting. This just came in. Any guesses on what it is? If you're a knife nerd, you definitely already know what is in the sheath. This is a Spyderco Mule Team CPM Rex 76 fixed blade knife. Totally tricked out with some beautiful green micarta scales. And we have this really nice leather sheath. Thank you to my friend. I'm not going to mention his name, not sure if he wants me to say it on the channel, but thank you to a friend of mine, a fellow viewer of the channel that sent this in for testing. I am very excited about this. I have not tested Rex 76 ever. I don't really know too much about it. I have some reading material here in the box that I'm going to look at, but as far as I know, this is supposed to be a hair better than Rex 45. So I'm very excited to test this on the channel at some point. Obviously, we have a lot going on this month with the trifecta of Reeve knives. However, this will be tested next month, and I'm really excited about it. I think he said that these scales came from TRM, like he had TRM make these. I could be wrong, but very comfortable, very grippy, really ergonomic. I'm very excited to test this next month. The stuff that is coming in for future testing is slowly flowing in here. I'm very excited. First impressions of this, I love how thin and slicey the blade is. It feels like a really good length so far, a very useful length. The scales are extremely, extremely grippy. And overall, I think this will just be a great platform to do some testing with because I'm really curious about Rex 76, especially since Rex 45 has treated me so well. Very excited. It's really sharp. I don't think he's used it much. Sorry, I'm trying to see if it's still the factory edge. It looks like it still has the factory edge. He said that I can do whatever I want with it. I can add a sharpening choil. I can sharpen it. I can, you know, do everything with it other than break it, basically. So we're going to try not to break it, but very excited about that. So that'll be coming next month in conjunction with a few other knives. Like I said, I have a bunch of stuff coming in for the channel, and this is one of the first things. So I just wanted to give you guys a little sneak peek of that. Thank you again to my friend for sending that in. I am so grateful for you and everything you do for the channel. Now, let's do our week 1 update because we're at Friday here. Okay, that's when I do my week updates. So we are testing the Reeve Small Sebenza 21 versus the Reeve Small Sebenza 31 versus the Reeve Small Inkosi. Now, I've been using these quite a bit. Lots of breaking down boxes at work, and we have one of those little, like, we have somebody that comes and takes the trash for us, and we have a huge dumpster for the actual trash. Sorry if the lighting is kind of weird here. A huge dumpster for the actual trash, and then we also have, like, a small, tall recycling bin that you really can't fit much into, and I personally try to fit as much as I can into there. So I take the cardboard and break it down very small and like really pack it in there so that we can still recycle it, which means I get to use my knives a lot for the cardboard processing. So, as you know, we have 3 knives that we're testing, and one of the major points of interest of mine this month is testing the stock factory edge, which is convexed with a smaller bevel, and putting that up against an edge that has been laid back to 15 degrees per side, like this. Notice how this bevel is much wider than on this Sebenza here. That's one of the major points of focus that I want to dial in on this month. testing that theory. Is it true that the performance of these knives is greatly enhanced if you lay that edge back? Okay, so I've literally been taking the cardboard boxes at work, cutting them up into tiny pieces, and putting them in the dumpster, or the recycling bin, I should say, and using these literally all at the same time, head to head. So I'll take them all out of my pocket. I do a cut with one, and then I switch and do a cut with the next one, and then I switch and do a cut with the next one, because I have time for that. I'm very lucky that I can actually really do a pretty analytical testing with these, given my job. So I had all 3 of these out, did some cardboard processing last night with them, and I can tell you right off the bat, you can feel a significant difference in lack of resistance with cardboard when you're using 15 DPS versus the conventional, okay? This is a pleasure to use in the cardboard processing. Now, that's not to say that the factory edge and the factory DPS is bad. That's not what I'm saying at all. However, I do think that when you get these with the typical bevel and the convex edge, it's like a jack of all trades, right? This is supposed to be a tough, stable, sharp edge to do kind of anything, right? A Sebenza is a work knife. Sebenza means work. And I think they put this on here for toughness. You get a nice sharp edge. You have a beautiful hollow grind that actually gets thinner as you use it for a while. And it's really an all-around performer. But is it the best slicer? In the grand scheme of things, no. It's not the best slicer. But you can turn it into that if you really lay that edge back to 15 DPS. You are going to enhance your slicing specific tasks by a landslide. And we've already tested that theory quite a bit on the channel. You guys know that my 21 is laid back to 15 DPS as well. This is a super slicer. But just reiterating that point of focus here, the Inkosi with that edge laid back is just a super slicer. And the reason I really am focusing on this Inkosi here is because the Inkosi is extremely overbuilt. It's very robust in comparison to the Sebenza in all aspects. The hardware is oversized. We don't have the pivot bushing. We have a very robust, short, stout blade with a lot of belly. Everything about the Inkosi is extremely overbuilt and robust. So when you take a knife of this caliber and lay the edge back, it really is just advancing your capabilities with slicing, because the edge that it comes with, in my opinion, is in line with the robustness, and it's just kind of like a tank of a knife that can do everything okay, but not anything specific super well. So when you alter the edge and you make it that thick and you really thin out the entire geometry of this knife, it's giving you a lot of different capabilities that you're not getting with the stock edge. So far, in my opinion, I think laying back the edge on the Inkosi versus laying back the edge on the Sebenza is more recommended. I think, like, everyone should just lay the edge back on their Inkosi if they have one. It really is a world of a difference. The Sebenza, is it making a huge difference? I wouldn't say massive. I don't think it's a necessity, but I do think you enhance it, because when I was using these two side by side, these are the same exact knife, the 21 went through the cardboard with much more ease and less resistance again in comparison to the convex smaller bevel on the 31. So even when we have the same exact blade here, okay, and one is 15 DPS and one is, I don't know, what is that, 17, 20 probably, something like that, you're getting, again, an enhanced performance on this one, even though this steel is S35VN and it's very soft because it's very old. This is S45VN, heat treat is higher. It doesn't matter, really, because the geometry of this one makes going through things like cardboard easier. It doesn't matter about the heat treat, and it doesn't matter about the blade steel, because the geometry on this one is outperforming the other one. If we were just hyper-focusing on edge retention, yes, The 31 with the updated steel, heat treat, hardness, all that stuff. Yes, edge retention specifically, this is going to outperform this. But all around as a user, the geometry of this is better than the 31 because we have that nice fat bevel that has really thinned out that edge. It's much thinner behind the edge on this than the 31. So, laying that edge back, giving it 15 degrees per side, nice and thin behind the edge, it is very different in use. I can say that right off the bat. Week 1, 15 DPS is, you are noticing a significant difference. And, you know, this is just logic, guys. This is just science. Like, I'm not huge on all of the super chemistry-based stuff on the channel and the, you know, hyper-focusing on geometry and stuff. But this is just general knowledge, right? If we're just talking about basic logistics, having a thinner edge is going to enhance your performance. So, just something to keep in mind if you do get a Reeve knife and you are noticing a lack of slicing capabilities, maybe think about laying that edge back. If you have a fixed angle system, it'll be really easy for you. Just set it to 15 degrees and, you know, hit each side of your blade. I did this freehand, and I used a tool that Super Steel Steve sent me that you can measure your edge angle with. It's like a dog tag looking thing. So this, you know, is freehand, but I know it's 15 degrees per side because I've measured it. Definitely something I'm recommending so far. I don't think that'll change. That's something I've tested numerous times on the channel. And it's just kind of common knowledge here, right? And that's something that you may want to do on your other thicker knives. You may want to do that on a Benchmade 940, right? A knife that's coming with a very thick blade. You can really lay that edge back and enhance the slicing capabilities of it. And generally speaking, if you do it correctly with the right steels and all is well, it should not compromise the toughness or the strength or anything of your blade. Oh, sorry. You should be all right. I have never laid an edge back to 15 DPS and noticed a lack of toughness. I think a lot of knife companies kind of play it safe and do 17 to 20 DPS, and a lot of them convex the edges just because that's the equipment that they have. But I've never laid an edge back and noticed a lack of toughness. I really haven't. And when I'm saying toughness, I mean like making the edge more brittle and maybe encountering chipping or rolling or little nicks or anything. I really haven't noticed that with any of the edges that I have altered, okay? That's what toughness is you know, the strength of the actual edge. What can it take until it chips or breaks or rolls or nicks or whatever. So, again, just something to think about if you're looking to enhance the performance of your Reeve knife. You may or may not want to lay it back to 15 DPS, okay? I'm obviously going to keep this one at the stock DPS and all that good stuff, and when I sharpen it, it will no longer really be convexed because I use sharpening stones, but I'm going to try to keep that angle so that we can stay consistent with our base model the whole time to compare these altered models. Okay? That's really all I've got for you guys today. That was one of the main points that I have really noticed this week in performance, was just how easy these fatties move through stuff. I mean, and it's such a minute change, you know, it's just a couple degrees going from 20 to 15 or 17 to 15. Such a minute change, but it really does make a world of a difference in the knife world. So think about maybe laying your edge back, guys. It's definitely worth it in my opinion. This is a super slicer now, even though it's a very robust, thick, overbuilt knife. You can make it a super slicer. The Sebenza is wild when you do that. Really, really good idea to just lay that edge back, okay? It's not compromising anything, it's not hurting anything. I will see you guys on the next video. Go use your shit, go learn to sharpen your knives, and I will see you soon. I love you all very, very much. Take care, guys.